It's the Eagles pregame show with Billy Schweim in the locker room on 97.3 ESPN and the mobile app. It's Eagles-Browns. We'll take you right up to 12 o'clock, and then you get Mike and Merle with the call up there in Cleveland, where the Browns and the Eagles are going to get together today, and we need a big win. Now, each and every Sunday, in collaboration and coordination with Ken Dunnick and the Jersey Man magazine, we do a segment called Where Are They Now? And I'm very excited about my guest today. I remember him vividly when he played in the 1980 Super Bowl with the Eagles against the Raiders. So let's go to the Barb's Harley-Davidson Sports Hotline and welcome into the locker room. A number one draft choice for the Eagles back in 1979, linebacker Jerry Robinson. How you doing, Jerry?
Whoa, what a great intro, Billy. Good morning, East Coast and Jersey. And you know what? I woke up this morning, it was like 35 degrees outside. I thought I was back in chilly Philly, man. I was like, dang, game day. I got a big jacket on and a wool cap on and a pair of gloves, and I ain't going to hit nobody. I'm going to watch the game from inside. But anyway, it's football Sunday, man. And, hey, Billy, hey, man. Thank you for having me on the locker room, man. I mean, that's what I feel like I'm back in the freaking locker room on game day. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jerry, it's so funny when you hear the intro and you hear Vince Papale go, I can smell it already. You know, that old crusty smell of the locker room gets you kind of pumped up for football.
Yeah, well, there's several memories coming out of Veterans Stadium. So, smell is one of them. But, yes, it does. It does get you ready. And like I said, seriously, I'm in Northern California right now, and it was 30-some degrees this morning. There was ice out there, and I was like, you know what? Thank God I'm indoors watching this game coming up. Anyway.
Well, Jerry, you and I had a nice candid conversation on Thursday. Got an opportunity to speak with you for a few minutes, and I tell you what, you're spirited, and you still seems like you got the passion. But before we get into your career, tell us, what are you doing now? Where are you living, and what are you doing now?
Well, now I grew up in Northern California, up in Sonoma County in the wine country up here. And unfortunately, in 2006, my mother, she died from a car accident. So I moved back home to the house that I bought my mom and father when I got drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm here in this house in Northern California. I'm very grateful to be here around friends and family. I am right now, what I'm doing, I've been doing for a couple of years, is I'm the president of a nonprofit foundation called Shoes for Kids. And what we do is, man, we go out and we try to provide as many pairs of shoes to children that are from either low-income family or homeless or in dire need of a new pair of shoes, because when you walk around, I know what it's like not to get a new pair of shoes every year, or some kids don't get them maybe once every 5 years. And I know what it's like to get something new, a new pair of shoes, man. It changes your attitude. You go from that embarrassment, because, you're walking around with shoes with holes in them. Some of them have electrical tape on it, whatever. You're doing whatever you got to do when you're in a rough situation like that. So what we do is, we provide these kids new pair of shoes with Shoes for Kids, and we get a chance to see their attitude change and their self-esteem change, and it gives these young kids confidence so they can take that next step forward to keep moving throughout the day. So on the nonprofit side of that's what I'm doing. The other thing I'm doing a podcast, Billy. It's called People Doing Good Podcast. I've been doing this for a couple of years because, in the last several years, there's been a lot of negativity out there. I mean, just turn on the TV, you see a lot of different things going on. So I'm co-host of a podcast called People Doing Good. And the stories about, they are about people that are doing good things, some business people, some just good, and not only just people in business, but people in general, helping out to make a difference in the world. So, there's a lot of stuff happening now, Billy. Man, we're in a situation where this ain't no joke, man. This pandemic, man, this COVID-19. It does
and
not,
Jerry, it's affected everything. I mean, people can't even get into the stands to watch the games, and that's got to affect. Can you imagine playing without any fans in the stands?
Well, the thing of it, I thought about this. I said, my mind went back to the Veterans Stadium because that's where we were when I played. And it made a huge difference playing at Veterans Stadium, man. I know from being retired for such a long time, some of the guys from other teams that they used to talk about when they would come into Veterans Stadium, they said they were concerned about us, but they were really worried about those fans in the stands because, they get emotional, they get fired up. And it's a real boost to have, your fans in the stands. And Philadelphia Eagle fans are some of the most passionate and outspoken and caring and loving fans in the National Football League. So it is a little weird. It does make a difference. And, God only knows when this whole thing is going to change. But, like you said, it does make a difference. These guys going out there on Sunday and they're playing, they don't hear the piped-in music that we hear on TV,
yeah.
On the radio.
Yeah,
they don't hear it, but they realize that, hey, even though there's no fans in the stands, there's some places that have a few, but even though there aren't any fans in there, everything we do counts. Every play we play counts. And that guy on the other side of the ball, he's trying to take your head off just like there's 67 or 68,000 people in the stands.
We're talking with Jerry Robinson, a former linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, you get drafted in 1979. You were a All-American in college 3 times in a row, and you get drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, out of UCLA, and you get to play for your former coach at UCLA, Dick Vermeil. That had to be pretty cool, heading to the East Coast to play for Dick.
That was, what, Billy? That was really, really, really cool. Let me tell you this. Now, I'm a native Californian. Now, as y'all look at the map, look at California and look at Philly. That's on the other side of the country, baby. And, the weather does change. The further you go east, I'm used to people with surfboards and shorts on and flip-flops and that kind of stuff. I get to Philly and you got people walking around in fur coats on and layering up clothes and this and that. So, first of all, that was the big adjustment, okay? But knowing that, I was being drafted by my college football coach was a big plus because, the familiarity there. And I know what Coach Vermeil was about. It was about hard work and about caring, And although I was going across the country, I remember my mom telling me, she was excited about it because, well, number one, she was sad because I was leaving West Coast to go to East Coast. But she was excited and happy because she knew where I was going, who was going to be my head coach. It was the same man that came into our house while they were recruiting me, him and Carl Peterson. And my mom said he was the most honest man that came in during those recruiting years. So she knew, she said, you know what, babe? She said, it'd be like, although you were a long ways from home, if something happens or if you need somebody to talk to, he's like family to you. And that's what it was about, man. Coach Vermeil, he's about that. So I was thrilled to be first round draft choice pick, and going to the team. The head coach was my head coach in college. They recruited me out of high school. And then, here's the other part of it. It's like a dream come true. Come on, man, a little kid in the city of Santa Rosa here where not many people come out of here to get drafted. And so I had that opportunity. So, yes, I went from the sunshine and the beaches and the ocean to snow plows. But one good thing about it is
blue collar, man, people that fight every day for their lunch. Hey, Jerry, coming back to Philadelphia, especially in 1980, was a very special time for Philadelphia sports fans. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl. The 76ers went to the NBA championship. The Phillies played in the World Series, and the Philadelphia Flyers were in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Islanders. So that was a pretty magical time to be a Philadelphia sports athlete.
You know what? I tell people about that. I said, hey, man, the time you're talking about, the 80s, oh, man, every sports team in that city was represented in as far as they could go in their particular sports. And it was just awesome, man. It was like a city of champions. I mean, and what I love about it, I've been to a lot of different stadiums, played for two teams, the Eagles and the Raiders. Man, the fans, the people in the city of Philadelphia it was especially great then because we were all winning and we were all headed where we needed to be headed. And it was just, the city loved it. We loved them. They got behind us. They supported us. And I don't know if there's any other time in sports history, you might know this, if there ever was that situation again with the football, baseball, basketball, hockey. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I think there's only one other time, Jerry. But I'll tell you, the Phillies were the only ones that won. But you guys, I don't know how many times you've been back to Philadelphia since you've retired, but I would imagine you guys were walking on water. Most athletes in Philadelphia, like, Bernie Perrant, Bobby Clark, Steve Carlton, Tug McGraw, Larry Boa, Jerry Robinson, Wilbur Montgomery, Ron Jaworski, and of course Julius Erving and Moses Malone. I mean, those names, I can go on and on. That was just a magical time.
I'll put it to you like this: during those times, not one time did I ever get a speeding ticket.
and we know you lived your life in the fast lane.
Well, I had a couple cars that they would exceed the speed limit by a lot, and there was a couple situations where you get pulled over and they want to talk about the game. Oh, don't worry about the job. No, they want to talk about sports, man. But no, it was just great. No, we were riding high, man. It was,
Hey, Jerry, let me ask you a specific question. Give me. I know you played in the Super Bowl, and obviously that's a memory that'll never fade for you. Give me one play or one instance, and making sure we got about a minute and a half left. Give me one play or one memory that you have that you'll never forget being in Philadelphia.
I remember playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a lot of memories, but I'm gonna tell you as far as playing. I remember my rookie year playing against Earl Campbell. We're playing in the Houston Astrodome. I'm playing inside linebacker. Once again, undersized, but I'm still starting. I'm playing. And all of a sudden, the defensive line, like the parting out of the seat, it just opened up, and there was number 34, Earl Campbell. My rookie year coming at me. I'm thinking of Campbell Soup because he had a Campbell Soup commercial, and he had those bulletproof pads on. And it opened up to just me and him. And I said, do I need to make a business decision here? What do I do? I either tackle him high or tackle him low. So what I was able to do.
Who was the linebacker? Remember, there's the one film. He ran over a linebacker for the Rams. Isaiah
Robertson. I think he put him into retirement that day. Yes, he did. But it'd be Earl, man. And you know what? I have fond memories about playing with the Philadelphia Eagles because a lot of it has to do with the teammates that I had, the coaching staff I had, and especially the fans in Philadelphia. I loved it, man. They were really passionate. I missed that.
Well, Jerry, listen, man, I wish we had more time. It's a short segment. I really appreciate you coming on, man. You seem like a great guy. Hopefully one day we can meet. But you provided memories for me that I'll never forget, and I want to thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, it's great being not only on the locker room, but you put me in the locker room. Thanks, Billy.
All right, Jerry Robinson, we'll do it again. Thank you so much. And let's go, Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
All right, there he is, Jerry Robinson on the Barb's Harley Davidson Sports Hotline.